Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for coming back. So today, I guess I'm on a kick of, freelancers and work and the whole industry as a whole and the RPG sector. So today we're going to talk about how to get started as a freelancer and keep getting work with a third party and a larger publisher. So I get people who always ask me like, how do I get in the industry? How do you break in the industry? I'll tell you bluntly, it's not that difficult. The biggest thing you can do as a freelancer, if you really seriously want to do this and you want to make some money, take it professionally. Most people come in here, they kind of lallygag, they kind of be like, halfway do something and nothing really happens. Let me give you the best experience of freelancers that I ever had. And this person, I can tell you, and I'm going to mention his name, Jeff Lee. He was nice enough to work with me a very, very long time ago, probably started with me about a decade ago. And I literally met Jeff drinking, well, before we met actually the booth at PaizoCon, and then we met drinking at the bar later that night. And I'm not a big drinker. If you did not know, I'm not a big drinker. But we were there at the bar and we talked for it felt like 2 hours, just talking about the industry, talking about business. And what I liked about Jeff, so put some also context to this. So when Jeff came over to talk to me about working for me, another gentleman came over and talked to me about working with me. And he said, it's very interested. And I gave him all my information. I gave him my card. I go, hey, if you're serious, just write me, some information so we can get in contact, so we can get something together. I did the exact same thing with Jeff. And I said, hey, and then later on I met Jeff at the bar. We talked some more. But here's the important part. When we got home from the con, Jeff sent me a letter and I had a project for him. And the project I gave him, I admit, this is a horrible project. I gave him a very tough project for his first one, but it also showed a lot about Jeff by completing it, doing it so well, and doing it so impressively. What I gave him to do for his first gig for Lewis Porter Jr. Design was to do stat blocks for Paizo's Pathfinder line that we're doing for our Neo Exodus line of products. Now, a lot of you are like, well, okay, stat blocks aren't so bad. I basically gave him 17 different characters I wanted to do. And each character had 3 different stat blocks, like one at one level 5, one level 9, and one level 14. So he had to do all these stat blocks. And that was his first gig. And he did it. He did it. He didn't complain. He didn't get upset about it. He worked, did everything he was supposed to do, put it together, gave it to me. Boom. I loved it. We put it out. And that's how he started with me. And he worked for me for several years. He'd get other gigs. Because he couldn't work for me all the time. He got other gigs with other people. And they say, hey, have you worked with Jeff Lee? Is he a good guy? I'm like, oh, he's a great guy. You'll love working with him. He's a great writer, great person to work with. I had a great experience and still, always had a great experience with Jeff. So that's really it. And it sounds really silly to say it like that, but it's like if you do the job that someone assigns you and you do it correctly in a matter of time, you'll get more work. It's really not that difficult. But the problem is that most people don't want to do that. Most people want to write their own little thing and be creative, their own little thing, and they want to take feedback from the publishers. They want to do their own thing. And that's great. But if you want to be a freelancer, that's not the job. The job of a freelancer is creating products based on what the people, the publishers, with myself, big or large, give you, and you execute. And usually you start with a small publisher. Lewis Porter Jr. Design, we're a small publisher, and we work with everybody. Anybody will tell you who's ever worked with me, I give you a lot of latitude in the work in. I give you a lot of creativity because I know we can't pay you a ton of money. We know that we don't have the big structure like a big, larger publisher does, but if we stick to really cool stuff that we think you'd be interested in, you'll probably work for us. And that's really how it works out. And best of all, I know for myself, when I get a good writer that I know is good, that maybe I don't have enough work for him, I will tell other publishers that I think, hey, if you've got some work, I got a guy who's perfect for you. He's the guy you want to talk to. He's a great guy you want to talk to. And that usually helps them out, which in turn helps me out because they know that, hey, if I needed some work, Lewis would be looking out for my best interest to try to help me find some work. Because I know that a good writer who gets to get more gigs doing work will definitely do more work for me because he knows that I'm going to take care of him in the long run. And I've worked with enough guys in the last 22 years, from all different spans of stuff. And I'll tell you, the guys who really worked hard and focused on doing a good job always seem to do well. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering, the second guy who came up and talked to me about getting a job at the Paizo never contacted me, never wrote me. I went back the following year, saw that guy again. He came and said, "Hey, I'm totally sorry. I messed up. Things happen." Da, da. I'm like, "No problem. But I don't hold grudges. Hey, no problem. Things happen. If you want to try again, sure." He goes, "Sure, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get back home." Da, da. Never heard from him. Never heard from him again. I don't know if he's working currently in the industry, but I tell you, like I said, I can't even remember the guy's name. But if he had done the work, just a little bit of work, he could have easily been in the industry. And that's the thing. You've got to do the work. A lot of people don't want to do the work. They talk about doing the work, but they don't do the work. So do the most basic work. Find a small publisher. Talk to them. Show them that you're a good employee, that you'll make a good freelancer. And basically, you'll do well. That's really that simple. It's not complex, but everybody makes it complex because not everybody wants to do the actual work. So I hope you found this video useful and helpful. If you did, do me a favor. Click down below in the bottom and tell me how you feel. If you agree, if you disagree, we'll just take it from there. As always, thank you for your interest and your support. And I will talk to you all later.